So if you don't mind, firstly, I want to ask you, why did you decide, or your team decided, to convey emotions using vibration? Why not sound implicitly or explicitly, let's say, or maybe using abstract sonic cues, or maybe via visual feedback? Why specifically vibration?
So we actually got our start as a company by entering a hackathon through Neosensory, which is the haptics company that's helping deaf and hard of hearing people better interpret sound cues using their haptic wristband. And they've done a whole host of sensory substitution and augmentation studies using their haptic wristband Buzz, as well as a haptic vest. And so we were relying on some of the early research from David Eagleman in his lab in sensory substitution and augmentation to sort of guide our decision-making process. I had actually been following their CEO, David Eagleman, since I had met him during a high school internship program. And so I've been sort of fascinated with haptics ever since meeting David back in high school. So when I saw that Neosensory had this hackathon challenge early on in college to create essentially your own sensory augmentation product on the Neosensory platform with their hardware, I was super excited and knew that I had to create something. So during this process, I teamed up with my friend Shannon, now co-founder, and we found that haptic feedback was a more optimal form factor to be augmenting emotions because it's the most easily integrated into everyday communication without obvious sound cues that someone else could hear while you're speaking to them, or visual labels that you have to look down at your phone or watch to sort of receive this information, distracting you from the conversation. So our goal was to be the most pro-communication possible and enable people to passively receive this feedback, which we found from our own internal testing and pilots and beta that people prefer to have a sort of discrete way to receive the information. However, we did recognize that for some people, particularly those with different sensory profiles that might have sensory avoidance behaviors due to deep vibrational pressures or touches, that haptics might not be the correct answer for them. And so we decided to offer an ability early on in our app to turn off and on certain features that might be customized dependent on your sensory profile. So haptics is one of them. We have the ability for people to turn on and off haptics as well as sound in order to rely on a particular type of feedback that's the most useful to them. Overall, we sort of found that following universal design standards is the only way to be truly inclusive, especially because we are addressing the neurodivergent community in particular. And we didn't want to force a one-size-fits-all solution onto an inherently diverse demographic, particularly because a lot of the current solutions out there right now that are attempting to improve augmented communication or sort of influence the sensory channels that people are using aren't as truly inclusive to all people because they are focusing solely on one output. And oftentimes in the autistic community, you need that ability to specialize even in a given situation, depending on how overwhelming or distressing the rest of the environment is.
Right. So you mentioned that you are providing several modalities. So you have, what modalities? Can you just tell me more about that? So you have vibration, you have audio feedback, right? Also?
Yes, so slight audio feedback. The reason why audio is brought up is because on the Apple Watch in particular, the types of, they call it the Taptic engine, the types of vibrations or haptics that are possible from the Taptic engine often include sound. So when you notice you're receiving a text message on your Apple Watch versus a Twitter notification, the way that they're varying vibrations also includes a sound component. And so we're playing off of that. Sound is not a primary feature of our app, but we are investigating ways to include very soft sounds to help people further differentiate the vibrations if they so choose. I definitely prefer to be using the app with solely vibrations or glancing down at the visual label, which we also have on the watch face. But the vibrations are the only way to truly utilize the app discreetly without people hearing the sound or seeing you look down at your watch face.
So your audio feedback basically is generated from the haptic feedback. Am I correct? Or
yes.
Yeah?
So
Okay,
each app has sort of a very
it's kind of redundant in a sense, but to make to provide a choice, a greater choice for your users. Wonderful.